Seniors, stop. There are 9 everyday foods in your refrigerator right now that may be quietly harming your health. It sounds surprising, even dramatic, but research from institutions like Stanford, the University of Florida, and the National Honey Board reveals that cold storage can strip foods of their nutrients, trigger harmful chemical changes, and even increase your risk of illness. For example, refrigerated potatoes can form acrylamide, a possible carcinogen, when cooked. Bananas can lose 80% of their vitamin C in just 5 days in the fridge. And honey? It can lose up to 35% of its natural healing power when stored cold. These aren't rare effects. They're backed by science. And they affect millions of older adults every day without warning. That's why in today's video, we're revealing the 9 foods you should never refrigerate, especially if you're over 60. We'll also show you how to store them the right way, so they keep their full nutritional value and support your health, not work against it. Stick with us, and be sure to share this with someone you love, because the first step to healthier aging is knowing what not to put in the fridge. Let's get started. No 9, morning ritual at risk. That warm, familiar cup of coffee you enjoy each morning might be losing its power before it even reaches your lips. You see, coffee beans are incredibly porous. They soak up odors, moisture, and bacteria faster than you realize. If you're storing your coffee in the refrigerator, you're exposing it to an environment filled with fluctuating temperatures, trapped humidity, and lingering food smells. That leftover garlic chicken, that open container of onions, your coffee absorbs those smells like a sponge. But it gets worse. The cold, damp conditions inside your fridge also create condensation. That moisture causes the coffee's natural oils, what gives it its rich aroma and complex flavor, to break down rapidly. It can even lead to mold growth on the beans or inside the container. A study by the Specialty Coffee Association found that coffee beans stored in refrigeration lose up to 60% of their aromatic compounds within just 7 days. That's not a small change. That's a complete collapse in taste, quality, and nutritional value. And let's not forget, coffee isn't just about flavor. For many seniors, it's part of a peaceful routine. It provides focus, energy, and joy. But poor storage can ruin that moment entirely. Cold beans don't grind evenly. They brew inconsistently. The result? A bitter, flat, and unsatisfying cup that can upset your stomach rather than soothe your morning. So what should you do instead? Store your coffee in a dry, dark, airtight container at room temperature, away from heat and light. Buy coffee in small amounts, enough for 1 to 2 weeks. This ensures you always have fresh beans without risking flavor loss. If long-term storage is necessary, you can freeze your beans once in portion bags, but never refreeze them. Moisture from repeated thawing will destroy the oils and structure. Your coffee should bring warmth, not worry. Protect your ritual, and never store your beans in the fridge again. Number 8. Tomatoes. The shocking truth behind that cold red fruit. What if I told you that every time you put a tomato in the fridge, you're not just ruining its flavor, you're shutting down its very ability to nourish your body? It's true. Chilling tomatoes doesn't just affect how they taste, it changes them at the genetic level. In a groundbreaking study, researchers at the University of Florida discovered that refrigeration deactivates hundreds of flavor-producing genes in tomatoes. These genes are responsible for the fresh, sweet, slightly tangy aroma we all associate with ripe tomatoes. Once turned off, these genes never fully turn back on. Even after the tomato warms up, that juicy, vibrant tomato becomes nothing more than a red balloon. Empty in flavor, hollow in nutrition. But the damage doesn't stop there. Tomatoes are one of the richest sources of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant known to support heart health and reduce cancer risk, especially in seniors. Yet cold temperatures have been shown to reduce lycopene content by up to 65%, according to agricultural science journals. And it's not just the lycopene that suffers. Refrigeration also destroys the enzymes that help your body absorb what little remains. In simple terms, even the healthy parts can't help you anymore. So how should you store tomatoes? Keep them at room temperature, ideally between 55 degrees and 70 degrees for a few. Place them stem side down to reduce moisture loss and prevent bacteria from entering. Avoid plastic bags. Tomatoes release ethylene gas that needs to escape, otherwise it accelerates spoilage. Store them in a bowl, away from direct sunlight, but not in total darkness. If you have too many ripe tomatoes, consider cooking them into a sauce. In fact, lycopene becomes more bioavailable when heated. A slow-simmered tomato sauce may actually be healthier than eating raw, refrigerated tomatoes. Don't let the cold steal the flavor, power, and purpose of this beautiful fruit. Keep your tomatoes warm and your health protected. Number 7. Garlic, a health hero that turns harmful in the fridge. You might be storing garlic to protect your health, but if you're keeping it in the fridge, you could be doing the opposite. It sounds harmless. After all, cold storage is supposed to keep things fresh, right? But garlic reacts very differently. When exposed to cold temperatures, garlic begins to sprout. Those little green shoots might look innocent, but they're a clear warning sign. Sprouted garlic not only tastes bitter, it also triggers internal changes that make it harder to digest. Even worse, cold and moisture create the perfect environment for mold growth, including molds that can release mycotoxins, toxic substances linked to liver damage, inflammation, and even long-term gut issues. And here's what most people don't realize. Garlic's true power lies in a compound called allicin. It's what gives garlic its smell, its sharp taste, and most importantly, its natural antibacterial and heart protective properties. But a study from the University of California, Davis found that garlic loses up to 50% of its allicin content within just 10 days in the refrigerator. That means half the health benefits are already gone before you even start cooking. So how should you store garlic properly? Keep whole garlic bulbs in a mesh bag, basket, or open paper container. Place them in a cool, dry pantry, not the fridge, and never near the stove. Garlic needs airflow and stable room temperature to stay potent. Avoid plastic bags. They trap moisture, which speeds up spoilage and mold growth. And remember, room temperature garlic actually releases its flavor better when chopped. That means your dishes will not only be safer, but also taste better. If you've been refrigerating garlic for years, now is the time to stop. This small change could protect your liver, your digestion, and your immune system. Please share this tip with someone you care about, because sometimes the smallest choices, like where you store a bulb of garlic, can make a big difference in your health. Number 6. Avocados. Why the fridge could destroy this superfood. Avocados are one of the most powerful foods for brain and heart health. But if you're keeping them in the fridge before they're ripe, you're destroying nearly everything that makes them valuable. This isn't just about texture, it's about chemistry. Avocados are rich in healthy monounsaturated fats like oleic acid and packed with antioxidants like vitamins C and E. But cold temperatures cause a reaction called lipid peroxidation. This process breaks down good fats into harmful free radicals, which may increase inflammation and even damage cells. A study by Stanford University found that refrigerating avocados caused them to lose up to 90% of their antioxidant activity within just 4 days. That's not a minor drop, it's a collapse in nutrition. What's left is a mushy, stringy fruit that can no longer protect your body or support your mind. The cold also activates polyphenol oxidase, an enzyme that speeds up browning and destroys the creamy texture avocados are known for. What you're left with is bitter, watery, and barely usable in guacamole or smoothies. It's heartbreaking to watch a perfect avocado turn into a waste. So what's the solution? Let avocados ripen at room temperature, ideally between 65 degrees Fahrenheit and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. On your counter, not in a drawer, and definitely not in a sealed bag. To speed up ripening, place them in a paper bag with a banana. The ethylene gas will gently do the work for you. Once ripe, you may refrigerate them, but only for 2 to 3 days max, and even then, expect a loss in quality. If you need to store a cut avocado, keep the pit in, brush the flesh with lemon juice, and seal it in an airtight container. Don't let your fridge turn a superfood into a disappointment. Protect the fats your brain depends on, and give your body the nutrition it truly deserves. Number 5. A common mistake that could damage your health. If you've been storing onions in the fridge, thinking it keeps them fresh, you may be setting yourself up for more than just soggy onions. You could be encouraging the growth of one of the most dangerous toxins known to science. Let me explain. Refrigerators are humid. That trapped moisture penetrates the thin, papery skin of onions and creates the ideal environment for black mold to grow. This mold can produce aflatoxins, a class of toxins so potent that the World Health Organization lists them as one of the most carcinogenic substances on the planet. Long-term exposure to aflatoxins is linked to liver cancer, immune suppression, and serious digestive disorders. But even if mold doesn't appear right away, the cold temperature still causes damage. A study from Texas A&M University found that refrigeration increases the sugar content in onions by up to 270% within 2 weeks. That might not sound bad until you try cooking them. These sugared onions can't caramelize properly. They turn soft, mushy, and release an odd, overly sweet flavor that ruins your dishes. So what should you do instead? Store whole onions in a cool, dry, well-ventilated space, like a pantry or mesh basket. Keep them at a temperature between 45 degrees Fahrenheit and 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Never store onions in plastic bags. They need to breathe. Instead, use mesh or paper bags to allow airflow. And here's a pro tip. Keep onions away from potatoes. Both release gases that make the other spoil faster. If you've been refrigerating onions for years, it's not your fault. It seems logical. But now you know better. Please, protect your health and your flavor. Keep onions where they belong, outside the fridge and away from danger. Honey, the healthiest food you're ruining without knowing it. Honey is one of nature's most powerful healing foods. It's antibacterial, it's anti-inflammatory, it never spoils. But when you put it in the refrigerator, all of that changes. You may think you're protecting your honey by keeping it cold. But the truth is, you're destroying everything that makes it valuable. Cold temperatures cause honey to crystallize quickly, turning that smooth golden liquid into hard, gritty clumps. It's not dangerous, but it's no longer pleasant to eat or use. Worse, the moment you open that cold jar, condensation forms inside. And that added moisture is honey's worst enemy. According to research from the National Honey Board, honey stored at temperatures below 50 degrees Fahrenheit loses up to 35% of its antimicrobial properties. Those are the very compounds that make honey useful for fighting bacteria, supporting wound healing, and protecting the immune system, especially in seniors. Honey also contains more than 180 natural compounds, including antioxidants and volatile oils. These compounds break down unevenly in the cold, leading to a sharp decline in flavor, potency, and quality. That expensive jar of raw honey? After a few weeks in the fridge, it might as well be sugar syrup. So what should you do instead? Store honey in a tightly sealed glass jar at room temperature, ideally between 64 degrees Fahrenheit and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep it in a dark cupboard, away from heat, humidity, and direct sunlight. If your honey crystallizes, don't throw it away. Simply place the jar in warm, not hot water and stir gently. Never microwave honey, as the high heat can destroy its nutrients. Please, if you love honey for its health benefits, give it the care it deserves. Don't let refrigeration turn a miracle food into a wasted one. Keep it warm, keep it sealed, keep it powerful. Potatoes, a hidden risk that could be sitting in your fridge right now. Did you know that storing potatoes in the refrigerator could actually make them toxic? This isn't just a rumor. It's a proven chemical reaction that turns a staple food into a potential health hazard, especially for older adults. When potatoes are exposed to cold temperatures, their starch begins to convert into sugar. And when those sugars are later cooked, especially at high heat, they combine with amino acids to form acrylamide, a compound classified as a probable human carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. In a large-scale study from the University of Idaho, researchers found that potatoes kept in refrigeration for just 2 weeks experienced a 300% increase in sugar content. That means triple the risk of acrylamide formation when roasting, baking, or frying them. And this damage isn't visible. Your potatoes may look perfectly fine, but inside they've changed in ways that can quietly impact your health. So what's the safer solution? Store potatoes in a dark, dry, well-ventilated space, such as a pantry, cellar, or even a cardboard box in a closet. Ideal temperature, between 45 degrees Fahrenheit and 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Never store them in plastic bags. Plastic traps moisture, which speeds up spoilage, and keep potatoes far away from onions. When stored together, both release gases that cause each other to rot faster. Also, watch out for green spots or sprouting. Those are signs of solanine, another natural toxin that forms when potatoes are exposed to light. If you see it, cut it out or toss the potato. Now let me ask you, Have you ever stored potatoes in the fridge without knowing this risk? Leave a comment below. Your story might help someone else avoid the same mistake. You deserve healthy meals, not hidden dangers. So let your potatoes breathe and keep them far away from the fridge. Number 2. Bananas, the one fruit that suffocates in your fridge. If you're putting bananas in the refrigerator, you may be doing more harm than good. In fact, it might be one of the fastest ways to ruin this incredible fruit, from the inside out. Bananas are tropical by nature. They grow in warm climates and have zero natural resistance to cold. When placed in the fridge, they suffer something called chilling injury. This causes the cells inside the banana to rupture. The result? Blackened skin, mushy texture, and internal rot, even if the outside still looks fine on day 1. Worse yet, refrigeration causes bananas to lose up to 80% of their vitamin C within just 5 days, according to research from the Queensland Department of Agriculture. And once the ripening process is stopped by cold, the fruit also stops developing key enzymes and nutrients that are essential for digestion and energy. Bananas don't just go bad, they break down from the inside, nutritionally and structurally. The brown spots you see? That's tissue death. And dead tissue can invite mold and bacteria you can't even see. So what should you do instead? Store bananas at room temperature, ideally hanging from a hook or laid out with airflow. Want to slow ripening? Separate the bunch and wrap the stems with plastic wrap. This reduces the release of ethylene gas, which controls how fast the fruit matures. If they're already ripe, you can refrigerate for 1 to 2 days max, but expect the skin to blacken. For smoothies, peel and freeze your bananas. Frozen bananas blend better and preserve more nutrition than refrigerated ones. Now let me ask, have you been refrigerating bananas your whole life? Did you ever wonder why they spoil faster afterward? Share your story in the comments below. You might help someone rethink how they handle their favorite fruit. And if this tip surprised you, share it with someone you care about. Sometimes, small habits make the biggest difference. Number 1. Bread. The shocking truth about storing the fridge. Do you refrigerate your bread to keep it fresh? If so, you may be doing the exact opposite. While it seems like a smart way to prevent mold, storing bread in the refrigerator actually speeds up the process of stalling by a lot. It's not a matter of opinion, it's science. Refrigeration causes a process known as starch retrogradation. This means the starch molecules in bread recrystallize and expel moisture, making the bread dry, crumbly, and flavorless. A study from the Institute of Food Technologists found that bread stored in the fridge becomes stale up to 6 times faster than bread kept at room temperature. But it's not just the texture. Refrigeration also destroys volatile organic compounds, the delicate molecules that give bread its rich, yeasty aroma and satisfying flavor. That lovely slice you expected to toast? It now tastes like cardboard. And for seniors, texture and flavor aren't just about enjoyment, they're essential for safe chewing and digestion. Dry, dense bread can even pose a choking risk for those with sensitive gums or difficulty swallowing. So, what's the right way to store bread? Keep it at room temperature in a paper bag, bread box, or cloth wrapper. These allow just enough airflow to prevent mold without drying it out. If you don't plan to finish the loaf within a few days, slice it first, then freeze it in portions. When you need bread, take a few slices and toast them directly from frozen. This locks in freshness and saves time. Now, let me ask you, have you noticed your bread going stale quickly, even inside the fridge? Did you assume it was just old bread? Share your experience in the comments below. Others might be wondering the same thing. Your toast should be warm, soft, and full of life, not a dry, disappointing bite. Skip the fridge, keep the flavor, and give your bread the treatment it truly deserves. Now you know the refrigerator, while helpful in many ways, isn't the right place for everything. We've just uncovered 9 everyday foods that may be losing their nutrients or even turning harmful when stored cold. And for older adults, these small storage mistakes can quietly lead to real health risks. From mold toxins to lost antioxidants, these are not minor kitchen details. They're choices that impact your brain, your heart, your digestion, and your long-term well-being. So let today be the day you take back control of your food and your health. Go take a look inside your fridge. What's in there that doesn't belong? Here's your next step. If you found this video helpful, be sure to check out the related videos we've linked in the description below. They're filled with practical tips to help you improve your health and daily life, often in ways you wouldn't expect. I promise you'll find something valuable there. And we'd love to hear from you. Have you been storing any of these foods the wrong way for years? Share your experience in the comments. We read and respond to every one. As always, if you found this helpful, please share it with someone you care about. Because healthy aging doesn't begin at the pharmacy, it starts in your kitchen. Stay tuned for our next video. Thank you.